Welcome to Ibis Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for February 13th, 2026, the day before Valentine's Day. We, of course, talking about the current threat of severe weather from today through Sunday, which is our main topic. Also, an outlook of what is possible to come in the next couple of weeks. Of course, also trying to downplay some of the hype that you're seeing on our social media. So let's go ahead and get started. Right now, we are looking at the National Weather Service's watches, warnings, and advisory display. Again, relatively quiet across most of the country. We do have some dense fog advisories for portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then over there from extreme East Texas across southern Louisiana and a little bit into southern Mississippi, a little bit over there on the west coast of Florida. We also have fire watches and advisories in place for Georgia, Colorado, southeast Wyoming, and northeast Nebraska, as well as the majority of stuff that's going on right now, but no current tornado watches, warnings, or any special advisories for that, which is good news. Which you probably might not be able to believe if you've been listening to some of the stuff that the hype is being put on the internet by other people. Try and make it sound like that this is going to be a humongous tornado outbreak, which again, I'm maintaining that that's likely. We just don't have the setup for it, thankfully, but it doesn't mean that there won't be a possible risk of some isolated tornadoes, which we'll get more into as we work our way through this. Let's go ahead and look at the current radar. As you can see, right now we do have thunderstorms in New Mexico, a little bit in Arizona, starting to enter into western Texas, a little bit of thunder and snow mixed over there in Colorado. We do see some storm activity in the Pacific Northwest and over there by Toronto as well. But again, nothing too crazy or wild. Let's go ahead and take a look at the categorical outlook for convection for today. So, if you've been following the past few days, it's maintained pretty much the same as what it was for the past 2 days. It has increased a little bit more north into Arizona and New Mexico, and then again, kind of shifted more west and more northeast as well, where you see the greatest risk is again from basically from West Texas to just west of the Oklahoma City metroplex and a little bit even into Kansas. So nothing too crazy. As you can see, considered a marginal risk, meaning, and of course some thunderstorm risk for that as well, but nothing super crazy for Oklahoma City to Wichita, Kansas, Lubbock, Texas, Abilene, Texas, and Norman, Oklahoma. For the thunderstorm outlook, there is a 40% chance over there for near Abilene, and a little bit near Oklahoma City, 10% for surrounding that 40% area, and then also into Arizona and New Mexico. So nothing too bad, yes, a little less than, oops, a little less than 50% chance. So, definitely hit or miss for possible thunderstorms. Let's go ahead and look at the same convection outlook for tomorrow, which is Valentine's Day. We do see an increase here. They did increase slight. So, again, nothing super bad, not like a major outbreak or anything. Again, the weather is just not, the conditions are just not right. We're still entering the end of winter and going into spring, so obviously you couldn't expect a major outbreak to be likely. But there is a slight risk, so that's a little bit more than a marginal risk for anywhere from Houston, Texas, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Pasadena, Texas, and Lafayette, Louisiana, and a little bit even into southwest Mississippi. And then marginal risk from San Antonio, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Austin, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and New Orleans, Louisiana as well. And then everywhere else is just a thunderstorm risk of T-storms. Again, the greatest risk for these tonight and today, rest of today and tonight into tomorrow will be mostly high winds with some possible hail. Of course, we might have enough instability in the atmosphere for a couple spin up tornadoes. But again, this is not going to be a major event. People are making it sound like the Cape numbers are what they were for prior major outbreaks we've had in the past years, comparative to May 1999, comparable to the El Reno and Joplin tornadoes as well. And that's just not the reality of it. So don't buy the hype. Again, it's pretty much of a smaller risk. Just be slightly weather aware. And again, severe weather does not mean necessarily just tornadoes either. You can have heavy wind, heavy rain, lightning, flooding, all that is possible, which we'll get into more in a moment as well. And then for day three, as it does shift to the southeast, we again right now are showing a marginal for Jacksonville to Florida, New Orleans, Louisiana, Tampa, Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, and Orlando, Florida. Everywhere else around it, including extreme South Florida, a little bit of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, into rest of Mississippi and Alabama, into the New Orleans area would be a slight risk for thunderstorms. Again, nothing super crazy or wild expected. Now let's go look at the current Cape values. So this is for the region, the area that we're talking about right now. You can do see a little bit of storms out there into New Mexico. As you can see, the Cape values, they are a little over 1,000. So that while that is enough to cause some lift in the atmosphere and some potential instability for severe weather to try to form and organize, those are not outrageous numbers. These are pretty no low end standard. Again, marginally, that's why they use the word marginally over here in the National Weather Service to describe this. Nothing outrageous or crazy as some of these people have been trying to make it sound like. So this is what the current Cape values are. Will they increase between sometime tomorrow? Possibly. I think the greatest risk, as we're going to see in a little bit, will be again over there. If we look over here, over there in, there we go. We look into, like I said, East Texas, into majority of Louisiana will have the greatest risk, and that's because it will be getting some of that moisture and instability and lift from the Gulf as the storm kind of go over there in a little bit. So that is why the risk is great. Let's go ahead and take a look at the tornado. Again, as you can see here, tornado probability, 2% to 5%. Again, nothing outrageous. Again, I feel like that there's some people trying to hype this up more than it is, but these are very low odds, which is good news. Wind is your highest risk with 15% again from Houston, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Pasadena, and Lafayette. Hail, 5%, and that's again nothing crazy. So nothing super shocking about that. So again, Cape values right now are just not at the level that some people are trying to make you think that they are. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the surface map. So again, this is the current one for today. As you can see, we do have warm, cold air intermingling over here. You do see rain and thunderstorms for a good chunk of the southern plains, of course, even going up into Nebraska, Missouri, a little bit Arkansas. Um, East DFW looks like they're getting not so much, and it looks like, again, a majority of the Houston area not. That will be for tomorrow, but definitely that is where you're seeing some of it. If we look at it for tomorrow, you can see they do have some of these hatched areas over here. A severe thunderstorm is possible over here again, so where we saw, so from Houston to Shreveport, Baton Rouge, Pasadena, all those areas. And then, of course, we do have heavy rain, flash flooding possible from the eastern edge of the DFW up into Arkansas and a little bit into southwestern Tennessee. So again, nothing super crazy or wild, but definitely a possibility for some activity there. And then for Sunday, right now, we're seeing the greatest risk of just rain and thunderstorms for basically the rest of southeast coast and Gulf Coast with a little bit of rain up there in Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and some possible snow or mixed precipitation for the Mid-Atlantic as well. So nothing crazy. We'll see if this changes between now and then, but right now it does look like again that Saturday tomorrow will be the greatest day and greatest risk of severe weather. And even with that being said, it's just not going to be as major as people make it sound like. Moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the modeling for Cape Value again, which is again the lift for possible stuff. So we're looking at for 6 o'clock. We definitely see a little bit into Oklahoma and West Texas, down into New Mexico, but as you can see, still not the greatest amount of numbers here. Again, there are mostly yellows into the greens, which is good news. Let's go ahead and place this for tomorrow at 3 p.m. to see what that looks like. And you see, again, not outrageous numbers as some people try to make that sound like. I believe this is the GFS model. Let's take a look real quick. Yes, the GFS. So again, nothing super crazy, mostly yellows with little bright yellows with a little bit darker yellow from again kind of the Texas Triangle, which is good news. Let's go ahead and see Saturday at 11 p.m. So you do see more Cape values over there in the Gulf Coast offshore, which is good news. But that is the reason why there's concern of some possible higher Cape values may be reaching on land from Houston into Louisiana, which is kind of why the National Weather Service is taking that precaution with that. But again, no advisories and no watches have been issued. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out tomorrow. But again, nothing outrageous or wild, which is always good news to see. Let's go ahead and see Sunday at 3 p.m. And again, it stays, most of the highest Cape values look like it will be staying to the south. Offshore from everyone. So that is again good news. Again, this is GFS, which I know is not always the most reliable. So let's see what the Euro one is showing us next. So starting at tonight at 6, we do see this one showing a little bit more higher Cape values for West Texas down into Mexico. Again, nothing too outrageous, but definitely a little bit higher numbers. Let's see Saturday at 2 p.m. So this one's showing higher Cape values for sure, a little bit to the west of DFW, uh, over there by Houston and San Antonio, and definitely more over there in the Gulf. So this is again, I think, part of the reason why we are seeing them saying that there is at risk, but again, not super outrageous. Again, mostly just yellows, varying shade of yellows, going a little bit into oranges. Um, Going forward, let's see. For 10 p.m. Saturday, we definitely see the Cape values going higher again off the shore, off the coastline, again into the Gulf, going originally a little bit over there by San Antonio and Houston, and of course in Louisiana. So again, we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with that. Um, does look like definitely the highest values, which would be in the 16 to 1200 range. They are staying offshore, at least according to this model. So let's hope that will be the case, but you never know. Again, caution should be taken. Let's see Sunday at 2 p.m. Again, so what we saw GFS, most of the higher Cape values staying offshore with a little bit reaching up into Alabama and Georgia and Florida a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But again, nothing too outrageous. We're not seeing a lot of reds and pinks, which is good news. Let's go ahead and take kind of a look at what one model is thinking that we'll have for significant weather in the model runs. This one, I believe, is the Euro. Yes. And this is for now at 6 p.m. So you're seeing a lot of cloud cover, mostly storms out to the west. Let's go ahead and look at Saturday at 4 a.m. And you see it definitely moving over into everywhere from Kansas down into Texas. Again, mostly just rain with light to medium. You have some fog over there and thunderstorms, and of course, a little bit of pink for more of a medium thunderstorm starting to enter the DFW area. Let's see, 12 o'clock tomorrow, what that looks like. And again, it's starting to shift more east, but majority the same as what we saw for previous one. Let's look at Saturday, 8 p.m. And it's starting to kind of go into Louisiana and Missouri, Arkansas a little bit. Again, nothing super crazy. Starting to see the cloud cover and all that shift more east. And then Sunday by 12 o'clock. Okay, and of course we get that. You can see it over there in the southeast up into the mid-Atlantic. So definitely less colorful, which is good news. We'll have to see if that holds true. Let's go ahead and see what the GFS is showing for that. So again, at 6 o'clock, pretty similar to what we saw for the Euro. Let's see, Saturday at 12 p.m. So anywhere from Oklahoma down to Dallas into, again, a Texas triangle of Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. You see some, again, this is showing mostly just thunderstorms and rain. Nothing super major or outbreaking, which is good news. Let's see what they show for 8 o'clock. Definitely looks like that one is definitely, is this for 8 o'clock? Yes, 8 o'clock. So we do see a little bit of a higher risk over there in the Houston, San Antonio area, but it looks like it's kind of dying out and petering out in this case, which is good news. And let's see Sunday at 12 p.m. And we see it kind of filling back in thanks to daytime heating as it kind of goes into the southeast major area. But again, nothing super major, just small areas where severe weather is possible. So again, we'll see tomorrow what they show if they end up increasing that risk a little bit for the southeast on Sunday, like they did for Texas and Louisiana. Today for tomorrow, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, it's looking like it shouldn't be too wild or woolly. Let's go ahead and take a look at the GFS again. So this is where we're seeing what is showing for this weekend and going forward. So you can see it taking this over this weekend. By Monday, it's pushing offshore. You see the next storm system coming in through the west coast. Snow, decent amount of snow for the west and Intermountain West, kind of spreading into northern half of the country. See another storm system coming in off the west coast. Again, more snow. So definitely not seeing a snow risk. So the next snow risk this is showing is for not the next Saturday, which is the 21st, where you have a risk of that for again from southeastern Colorado, Kansas into Oklahoma. North Texas looks like it's be missing out on that. A little bit up into the Panhandle. And then we see some snow possibly for Tennessee, Kentucky, um, and all those areas with more rain surrounding it. So again, not as bad as we saw about earlier this month for sure, or even the week before that, but definitely seen some. Again, this is kind of early. I'm thinking that again, this is GFS, so it would love to throw random things at us and try to see what sticks. I kind of think that this might not be the case if we do see cold air coming in like that. I would think that we're more likely just to see what we're seeing this week in the versus, what we saw first weekend of the month here or the last full weekend in January. And we see that go out, and then we'll just leave it at there. Let's go ahead and see what the Euro shows for that. Get through this weekend. So we see the storms coming in off the Pacific coast. Again, seeing snow spread out into the west, Intermountain West, across the northern portions of the country. By next weekend, we see some low pressure coming in into California, spreading out. We do see, so this one is shown what I think is more likely to happen if we was to get a cold front come through. Traditional thunderstorms and rain possible. I would say more of a severe, again, chance of a severe outbreak, in my opinion, just based off of cold air and warm air. And I'll show you next in a moment why I'm saying that. And this one shows that getting pushed off. And we'll leave it at that as well. So you see the next storm system coming in off Pacific Northwest. So why am I thinking that if we were to have another cold front come through, why we would have a repeat of what's going to happen this weekend versus what happened in prior weekends? And that is because we are basically in a warming trend. I know everybody's talking about Pakistani Phil and him saying that we're going to have 6 more weeks of winter. Well, it looks like he has some bad intel because most of the country is going to be on a warming trend, which is good news. And of course, what that means, though, that winter gate hasn't closed yet, so cold fronts will continue to try to plunge through. But when it happens, as what we're seeing this weekend, that causes severe weather. That's why we have severe weather in spring. I think that if more than anything, instead of seeing a repeat of snow, we'll see a repeat of rain and thunderstorms. Again, I don't think it would be anything particularly super big or powerful or an outbreak for sure, which is good news. Again, I think it was a little bit too early for that, but I do think that we have potential of seeing, again, a little bit of a minor severe weather threat next weekend. We'll continue to monitor that as we enter this week and go through and enter next week. I'm sure we'll see and hear more about it. I will post more updates, of course, on that. So let's get back to this weekend and the threat of severe weather. So again, as you can see right now, it's just not super high threat, which is good news. It's quite low actually, which is what we want to see. You definitely don't want to see orange, red, or pinks, as you can see here under a categorical um, Outlook legend. So that is good news. You definitely want to see the greens, and of course yellow. I mean, there's been many times where I live, they're heavy yellow, and we don't even get severe weather. So again, I would say even for tomorrow, I would, if you're in the yellow area, if you're from Houston, Baton Rouge, Shreveport, Pasadena, Lafayette, I would not put too much worry into that. Just stay weather aware. Small spin ups could happen. I think your greatest risk will be possible some high winds, and of course some heavy rain. But I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. But I don't think you're going to be having these major severe outbreak where you're going to have to decide if you're going to stay home all day or not. Just be weather aware. Make sure you have a way to receive weather updates, warnings, watches, anything along those lines, obviously, because that's important to know. Um, and then we'll see if that would get slight increased risk based off of what some of the models are showing for Cape values, even over there by Florida. Um, and Alabama, and then of course into Georgia. We'll have to kind of wait and see. If they do it, they'll do it tomorrow. So that's just waiting and see. But it does look like, again, very small chance of something that could happen with tornadoes. But again, more of a wind and rain event. Again, nothing super severe, not flash flooding or anything like that in most cases. So that's good news. Just make sure you're weather aware. I will continue to provide updates. Please follow me here on YouTube and also on Facebook, where I do post a little bit more frequent updates. I will post another update on this tomorrow. And please like, share, and comment and let me know where you guys are located and what you are expecting for this weekend. Hopefully, everyone will be able to look back at this and realize, there's a reason why we don't cry woof when it comes to severe weather threats. Because it looks like this one is just not going to be what people are promising you it to be. So let's just continue to be weather aware, and I will continue to be posting updates, and we'll see what happens if next week we'll have more increase, or not increase, but another risk of severe weather, or if we will get the snow and ice that the GFS is wanting to hint us at. So thank you guys for watching, and I will give you guys another update tomorrow.